Yay, we're live. Good just afternoon on a Friday. I'm pretty sure it's a Friday. Happy end of the week. Get into the weekend. We'll do a little live doodle here. This is Comics Workshop coming from merrickbennett.com here at the Comics Workshop headquarters, my desk. And if you want to join the Patreon, patreon.com/merrickbennett, you can get updates for the live draws and stuff. I'm going to get started because it's noon, even though some of us might be joining us later. 12:05, there was a little issue with the tech, so sorry about that, but we'll get started. So I've got a pencil, I've got regular sheet of paper, got some sunlight streaming in here, so hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm drawing. And the sun's moving. It's getting to be the end of winter. So let's do a little, I've been drawing lots of fairy houses and lots of forest villages, mystery villages I'm thinking of. So I'll guide you through it and you can take it whatever direction you want. Let's take the pencil to start with, and we'll just doodle out some shapes. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build a tree coming up over the page here and going out and branching out. Maybe we'll even add some roots in. I kind of like that these tree branch shadows are coming over my desk here as we do this. So let's do the trunk of the tree. We're going to give ourselves, start on one side and kind of curve through and maybe angle up. And give yourself a nice curving spine of that tree. It can go right off the top of the page. We're just drawing parts of the tree here. And then let's bring each place where it bends out, let's bring like a branch off to the side. Maybe this branch goes way off to the side. And let's bring another branch off in the other direction to balance it up and over. It'll also look like a river. We'll bring another branch up, and then we can just throw some branches up. Maybe they split as they go up. Give yourself lots of habitat here. Maybe a couple branches cross. Maybe there's a couple places where they cross here. But that looks a little regular, so maybe I'll put a branch coming down like this and then going back up, so it looks a little off balance. And then down below, if you want to add roots, I'm a big fan of roots. They can kind of go to either side and wiggle and then drop down. Those are really fun. And it'll kind of look like you could almost flip this around and see a tree with huge roots and little branches, or you can keep it with the little roots underneath there. Oh my goodness, this is getting bright. Hold on a sec. That sun is on the move. I'm going to move us up a little bit. There we go. You can see my pie here. I've got penciling, then we'll ink. Let's give ourselves like 15 minutes to pencil, then we'll get into inking. So we'll pie our artwork. All right, so let's shape this tree. We just drew some guidelines, drew some branches off there. These guidelines will help us shape it, but they're not the actual shape of the tree. The tree itself will be shaped like this. Let's make that trunk nice and broad. And as it goes up, it's going to get a little thinner. There we go. There's the trunk. Now let's do those secondary branches. Again, to either side of my guidelines, maybe a little thinner. Not quite as broad as the trunk, because the trunk supports them. This is like an old oak tree here, twisting through the sky. Follow the guidelines of this branch. Keep it kind of wide, but tapering. There we go. That's looking really nice. And then I'll go up here on this branch. I just follow the whole branch. We're going to erase those guidelines right in here. See that? We'll just erase in there, or we won't ink them. So they won't show up. Don't worry about it. It's going to look great. Let's see. We'll do a thinner branch here, and this one coming off it is yet thinner. And that'll look really nice and grounded if they get a little thinner as they go up. And each branch coming off another branch is a little thinner than that branch. Let's bring this one off here and tuck it behind maybe. That'll look like it's going into the background. And here maybe we'll tuck it behind again. See, we can just kind of draw this branch over it. You can play around with those branches, see what looks right for your tree. I'm not sure what kind of tree you're drawing, but if it's a branching oak like this, you're going to want a couple horizontal branches, maybe a couple that kind of wander. All right, now this is where we can build our village. We're just setting up habitat for this village. Now you see you've got all these great little open areas tucked in among the branches here. And we have all this open space down here. And let's not forget these roots. Let's follow them along. We'll keep them a little simpler from the branch, a little simple compared to the branches, right? Maybe you can weave them together, tuck them under each other if you want. But let's focus on the tree itself, and we'll come back to those roots if we have time. I'm just tracing them out, following the guidelines. And you notice I'm using wiggly lines. I'm letting it be a little bumpy and wiggly. That'll make the tree look even older. Oh, this is looking really good. Ahoy, Elena. Elena says ahoy from Slovakia. Good to see you out here. Feel free to make comments, folks, and suggestions if you want to see something in these trees or if you have a fairy village idea. Okay, so let's build a couple houses. What does he mean by houses? Simple house that we can build. Let's go up into one of these upper openings and we'll build a dome house. And that's just going to be like a little igloo, a little round shape. We'll put a little round shape next to it, maybe a third one between them. And you can tuck a couple in here. And those are behind the branches. Let's try putting one in front. We'll do a little round shape in front, maybe one hanging off the bottom of a branch, and one up here in this opening. This will be the little round neighborhood up here. Now, these aren't houses yet. I can erase these branch lines here. What's going to make them a house is if we give it a door and a window. So let's give it a little, right on this one, off to one side a little bit. I'm going to give it a little round opening there. And then if I'm looking through this, if it's an opening, but it's tipped, you notice, look at the insides of my fingers here. If it tips away from me on this side, I'm going to see the inside of my finger here, but I won't see this inside. So that's the doorway there. If it tips this way, I'm going to see that inside. So let's try to get that. If it's tipping to the right, if it's facing to the right, I'm going to see the far side of that doorway. So I'll just do another little line there and I'll black in the door. Does that look like an opening into there? It will if we do a couple more. Let's do like a little round window. Now this one faces this way. So I'm going to do a side of the window right there. Okay. I'll black it in. And then if we add a couple of these little windows and doors here and there, it should start to look like a little village. Maybe I need another little house here with a little window. There we go. We'll put a little door, little hatchway on here. Or it starts to look like a bunch of eyeballs for these dome houses. They could be bird houses. They could be fairy houses. So that's our little dome neighborhood. We're going to do a couple different kinds of houses here. I like my villages to have a blend of different kinds of houses because that looks really nice and diverse. So let's do a couple, let's do the opposite of the round houses. We'll do little square houses up here in this corner. So here I'm just going to put a little block. This looks like if this is a wintertime tree, there might be snow. So we might want to give these little pointed, I'm going to tuck that roof behind the branch there. We'll put another little block here, a little rectangle or square with a little roof. And then you can decide if these have square doors, give it a side and black in, or if they have round doors. Maybe they picked up some building techniques from the round houses over here. Maybe a little round window on a square house. Actually, they kind of look like cylinders, don't they? Let's try doing a really square house. We'll use our cubes from last week. So we'll draw like a square or a rectangle. Let's let it overhang that branch, come out over that branch a little bit. This will look really cool. It's going to look like a building sort of set onto the branches and overhanging them. Let's give it, we're going to go back like this. Remember our little trick of going back always at the same angle from those corners, and then tracing here to get the direction, coming back and doing a parallel back face, parallel to the front face, and that'll give us the cube. I can do that here, except I kind of feel like this needs a roof. It's not going to work as just a cube sitting in the tree. So let's give it a roof. We'll give it a little pointy top here on the front. I will bring that back at the exact same angle as the sides. And then we'll get the same angle on the back as on the front, just like the other sides. And then we can erase. This is a huge house. We'll build some small ones around it. Maybe this will be like a central gathering for the square neighborhood here. Let's see. Let's put a couple of these rounded. I kind of like this round cupcake castle turret house. So let's put a couple of those in. We'll do the roof. Let's try giving it like a little decorative bottom. And then bring the lines down. We'll erase that house behind it. And that's going to look like they're nestled there. And maybe one of the round houses builds in that neighborhood too, because they like to have a mixture of houses too. Let's put a couple more We can tuck one of these houses behind here. We can even make a little tower out of it. Coming up there. We could even, couldn't we maybe build something down below here that is like a rectangle tucking below the branch and going back, and maybe it has a little hole in it. Now, here's what I like to do with these little round openings. We can come in here and actually put a little eye looking at you and shade around it. Wow, this is looking cool. Now, what I'm going to do is just fill up this tree and all these branches with little houses. Maybe I'll put a couple different styles here. We could also do like a round curving roof. And maybe this one has like jagged saw bottom. Maybe this is like we can add some details. Maybe this is like some kind of thatching on this little hut. I like the round doors today. For some reason, I like those round doors. And then we can start connecting them together. So watch this. If this little hut over here, oh, let's give it a chimney. Little puffs of smoke coming out and drifting away in that direction. All right, if this house over here wants to get over to here and they don't want to have to walk all the way up the branch and down again, they might want to build a little rope, a rope bridge, except it's not going to go straight across, is it? It's going to sort of go angle down and give a nice rounded curve. Let's try to give like a rope bridge sag to it. That looks cool. We'll do 2 lines. See, I'm just getting the feel of it with my pencil. I'll do a line right alongside that. That is a long rope bridge, but I think it'll work. And then I'll just do little lines across it. Train track style. But these are such small details that it'll look like a little rope bridge. Very cool. Maybe we want to give it a little support. So we'll put some ropes around this branch. See how I can kind of curve around the curve of the branch. And then a little support down. That's not really holding it up, but just in case it needs it. Or maybe there's another little hut here. Oh, maybe it's a round hut in the air. We'll put a little doorway there, a little doorway there. I think I might have to replan this bridge though. Let's try this. I just got an idea for this bridge. This is gonna hold it up. So we'll put some ropes coming down and we'll sag it to there. And then we'll sag it afresh. I like that long bridge, but I kind of like 2 shorter bridges. It just seems a little safer. So it'll go down and up. And then there's a little house in the middle of the air there. Oh, we just got another neighborhood started. I'm doing my cross lines. That's what makes it look like a bridge. Little neighborhood here. We can put another little house under that, maybe with a window. Cool. We've just added to our neighborhoods by starting to build out into the space around the branches. Let's see. Let's put a couple more, maybe another square house here. Square houses don't all have to go in the same direction, by the way. You can put a roof on it and then bring it back in this direction and get all these lines going about the same way. Maybe a round house tucked behind them. And then if you tuck enough houses in behind them, you get this wonderful, you get a tree city happening here. In a couple minutes, I'm going to start inking this and we'll see how it looks. So let's think about structure. First of all, I think some of these might need some more ropes tying them on. So I'm going to wrap ropes around those branches, around and around. Those curved lines will make the branches look like they're coming towards you or going away from you. If the branch is coming out towards me, the rope will follow that curve. So if I follow that curve like that, it'll make that branch look like it's coming out. If I follow the curve this way, now that branch looks like it's going back into the picture. This is looking cool. I think this square house is going to need some support. So we'll put a little support there and then we'll shadow underneath because it's going to leave a real shadow and maybe a lot of ropes coming around. We can even bump them out if they're thick ropes, bump them outside the edge of the tree there. And that looks like it's wrapped around there. Whoop, bump it outside the edge of the tree and wrap it around the tree there. That's looking pretty cool. And then I think, thinking down all the way down to the ground, I like to build little staircases so people can get up to, critters or fairies or whoever it is can get up there. So say you're standing down here and you want to climb up to these houses, you might want to have some little, you know, those little fungi, the polypore that grow on the sides of trees and they grow out. We can actually bring them across the tree like this. That's going to be a little staircase that you can hop up, and it's going to come around, go around the outside of the tree and disappear on the back side of the tree there. And then it'll reach up into the village that way, I think. Let's put a couple more. I'm going to put a nice big square window in here, and I'm going to tuck a friend in here and give it the side there. And I'm just going to tuck the head and the beak and the sleeping eye of a bird in there. And maybe I need to darken all around it. And I'll put a little window on this side. Now on this side, I'm going to see that side of the window, and I'll continue the bird's body. So you'll feel like inside that hut, there's a nice big sleeping bird friend in there. Put a couple more windows on here. I can add some more ropes to hold these houses on because I think it gets pretty windy up here. Let's see. Let's put a flag up. 2 flags. Oh yeah, look at that. It is pretty windy. Let's put another little chimney here with a little cap. And look at the wind is carrying that smoke pretty quickly away. So they must have a little wood fire in there. I'm going to add lots more houses in here. I think this is going to grow to be kind of a tree metropolis, right? You might also find you want to open up doors and put more eyes inside, put more critters inside. Whatever is in your village, whatever shape houses. I'd love to see what kinds of shapes you're drawing here in your tree fairy mystery village. And then I'm going to go down into these roots. And maybe I'll add, like, I can add a squashed circle. I can add a dome on top. I can put a little joining line and drop down a stalk. And I can have nice big mushrooms underneath this tree growing up and shading the habitat here. And then I can add some more of my little huts. Maybe just a couple. Maybe it's safer up in the tree. Or maybe there's a real village tucked in front of these branches, roots. And behind these roots, windows and doors, critters visible in those little windows and doors. Maybe there's a square house over on the square side of the tree. Maybe there's round houses mixed in. Up to you. I love to doodle this kind of stuff and just kind of get to know. You can name your town. You can give it a name here. You can give it, I left a lot of space here. So there's room for names. There's room for flowers and things to grow up. Whatever you see in there. I'll show you what it looks like as I start inking. And we're not going to finish it today because I'm keeping these live draws nice and short, but you can keep adding to this, keep penciling. The one thing that I like to do as I ink is I come in with my pen and my marker or whatever nice black inking tools you're using. And I usually rough out the tree with nice thick lines. You know me, I like to have those thick outlines so your eye can see the shape. So the underside of the tree, I'll give nice, heavy, thick lines. Undersides of those branches. Undersides. There's going to be a shade side. Usually I have the light coming in because I have my light on and the light comes in this way. So the shadows fall this way. And usually I shade the underside of the tree a little more on this side, but you can decide which direction your light's coming from and just keep it the same through the picture. But I do know underneath the tree will be shadier, unless there's like a bonfire going on down here. And you can dangle charms and little artifacts and things off the branches. Maybe there's little wind chimes. Who knows what's going to be up in your tree. Totally up to you and your village. The zoning of your village will determine what can be up in these branches. One thing I like to add, I love to see this. Let's see, where do we have room for it? Maybe just here. We'll do a little line from this hut, right from the door up to another branch here. And then we'll hang little bits of like a little shirt with sleeves and a collar, little pair of pants. Oh, those are long-legged pants, little socks, maybe a towel, something like that. And you can hang some laundry. You can hang down a little bird feeder. Maybe draw some birds. Whatever comes to you as you, oh, maybe these are bats. I don't know. So whatever comes to you as you ink. I'm going to rough out all the weaving branches of this tree. just with my marker. And then you should be able to see the basic shape, this wonderful river shape of this tree. And once we have that basic river shape, I'll go back in with my fine pen. I will trace out that tree, trace out all the houses. It'll look a little like this. Let's just do this one. That'll be fine details. You can shade them as much as you want. Maybe you want to add some detail to that roof to make it look sort of like a acorn cap leaf roof. Maybe that little eye is easier to see now that we've inked it, right? The inking makes everything apparent to your reader. Make sure when you ink these ropes, you keep the curves in there. That's really going to help us see the shape of the tree, right? And then there's a lot of cool bark patterns you can do for this tree. I'll show you what this looks like once it's fully inked here, because we are about out of time here. But here's my sketchbook page I was drawing earlier this morning, right? You're going to have all these neighborhoods. You're going to have clotheslines and bridges. See if you can get these little Saturn decks on your hanging houses. You can really get into the neighborhoods down here and decide what season it is. You can add leaves and grasses, maybe different kinds of mushrooms and all sorts of different bushes and things. And see who's living in your houses. You might be surprised by the little critters that come and live in these habitats. See where the neighborhoods are and how the village works. It's really fun, really good doodle to do with friends or on your own. I'm going to keep doodling here. I'm going to keep inking, and I will post this over at the Patreon. Thanks to patrons for joining us and drawing along with us and making these possible. Thanks for people who drop in. If you want to get updates and invites and future live draws and all the process pics of these coming together, head on over to the Patreon. You can join for any level. And I'm also getting ready to do a mailing for the patrons. So that's going to be cool. We'll get some mini comics in the mail. Oh, look, we're attracting a little visitor already to our village. I will see you soon. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Thanks for drawing with us.